Good evening. I would like to call to order the Keizer City Council in regular session. It is Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023, and ask our city recorder to please call roll.
Councilor Herrera.
Here.
Councilor Reed.
Here.
Councilor Kohler.
Here.
Mayor Clark.
Here.
Council President Smith.
Here.
Councilor Starr.
Here.
Councilor Duran.
Here.
And Youth Councilor Sarmiento.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would you all please rise if you are able and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all and Happy New Year. We're happy to have everybody here with us tonight as we transition from our current council to our newly elected council. This is something every 2 years that as citizen volunteers serve as city councilors and complete their terms of office, we celebrate and thank each person who has volunteered for this service and then welcome in our new city councilors whom you, the people of Keizer, have elected. So tonight we are going to start with a recognition of our outgoing city council members. This is a particularly special council. Every volunteer that I've had the pleasure of serving with has brought so much to the table and has contributed so much. But over these last 2+ years, we have experienced conditions and situations that none of us was prepared for. When many of us took the oath of office back in 2019, nobody saw 2020 coming. And certainly nobody saw the ice storm in 21 and the fires in 20. And yet, this group has come together and continued to serve this community with distinction. And I think that we are going to, this group is going to go down in history as one that saw us through some of the most difficult and turbulent times and came together as a community, just like this community of Keizer has done. So, but I'm going to start with position number 4 and recognize Councilor Roland Herrera, who has served with distinction for 8 years as the city councilor. I do have a proclamation that I have composed and will be presenting to Councilor Herrera in thanks for his service. I didn't need these a few years ago. Whereas the office of city councilor is an act of volunteer service, and whereas the citizens of the city of Keizer elect from their fellow citizens persons to serve in the office of city councilor, and whereas the office of city councilor requires commitment and dedication to overseeing and directing the civic affairs of the city of Keizer for the benefit of all the people of Keizer, and whereas it is right to thank and honor those who have served in the office of city councilor. Now I, therefore, Kathy Clark, Mayor of the City of Keizer, together with the Keizer City Council assembled in regular session, do hereby proclaim that Councilor Roland Herrera has faithfully served the people of the City of Keizer and did carry out the duties for which he was duly sworn in the elected office of City Councilor from January 5th, 2015 to January 3rd, 2023, whose work has included founding member of Latino Action Committee, League of Oregon Cities Board of Directors, founding member of the League of Oregon Cities People of Color Caucus, Marion County Public Safety Coordinating Council, Career Technical Education Center Advisory Board, Keizer Points of Interest Committee, Keizer Budget Committee, Keizer Long Range Planning Task Force, Keizer United, Keizer Parks Advisory Board, Greater Gubser Neighborhood Association, and the Keizer Community Engagement Work Group. And further proclaim sincere thanks and appreciation on behalf of the people of the City of Keizer to Councilor Roland Herrera for his dedicated service. And I have signed this document January 3, 2023. Councilor Roland Herrera.
Quick like you're complaining.
Oh, one more. Yeah,
one more.
Caught ya.
Then it's got to go.
Just one.
And Councilor Herrera, in recognition of your service, I just have a little something for you. I know that coaching is a major part of your life, and there's a book written recently that has you mentioned in it about your coaching and by a local author. I'll let you open it and tell people who it is by.
Okay.
And it's been signed, by the way.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah. David Espinoza, Oregon Latino Basketball Tournament, which I was one of the original members.
Yep.
That was really great. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, I want to say something with thank you, if you don't mind.
Please do.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go.
I just want to thank everybody for the support that I've gotten throughout the years. I've had my ups and downs, but I've always owned up to my mistakes. And I want to say one thing. Everything I did, decisions I made, and a lot of my emotions sometimes comes out, but I think people that know me well and know my intentions, know where my heart is Keizer, they realize where and what I've done is out of my heart, really, seriously. And by the way, I want to mention, because my best work, I think, was with the Judicial Commission, as a commissioner, and with the board members, mano a mano, because some of the things that we accomplished were tremendous, and was, I just had to mention that, Kathy. Thank you very much, though, Mayor. And I just want to thank everybody for your support, and I will miss this in a way I won't. and I just tell people what my brother told me once, remember, the people that knight you, they'll good night you. And so I will say this, I appreciate to every department, all you folks, administration, all the way down. Do I see some flaws and things I don't think are right? Yes, but in general, this is my community and I love it. So I want to thank everybody, okay? That's all.
Thank you. Also, completing your term of service tonight is Council President Elizabeth Smith. Okay, wipe that grin off your face, seriously. So not only has you served a term as city councilor, but also has served for the last 2 years as council president, and has been there during some incredibly difficult times, fires, losing her own home in Detroit, helping bring communities together to serve under difficult circumstances, and doing so with a great deal of guts, determination, and humor, and smarts. And I have really appreciated the partnership that we've been able to forge, working together to serve our council, our council team and city team, and the community of Keizer. The proclamation reads as follows. Whereas the office of city councilor is an act of volunteer service, and whereas the citizens of the city of Keizer elect from among their fellow citizens persons to serve in the office of city councilor, and whereas the office of city councilor requires commitment and dedication to overseeing and directing the civic affairs of the city of Keizer for the benefit of all the people of Keizer, and whereas it is right to thank and honor those who have served in the office of city councilor, now, therefore, I, Kathy Clark, Mayor of the City of Keizer, together with the Keizer City Council assembled in regular session, do hereby proclaim that Councilor Elizabeth Smith has faithfully served the people of the City of Keizer and did carry out the duties for which she was duly sworn in the elected office of City Councilor from January 7, 2019 to January 3, 2023, which includes City Council President, Keizer Charter Review Committee, Keizer Council Rules and Procedures Work Group, Keizer Budget Committee, Keizer Long Range Planning Task Force, Keizer Public Arts Commission. That was not one of my better choices. Keizer Traffic Safety Bike Ped Committee, Keizer Audit Committee, Keizer Personnel Policies Committee, Keizer Community Engagement Work Group, Emergency Management Communications, Regional Support, and Relief Organization during the 2020 Santiam Canyon wildfires and the 2021 ice storms. And further proclaim sincere thanks and appreciation on behalf of the people of the City of Keizer to Councilor Elizabeth Smith for her dedicated service. and I have signed this document the 3rd day of January, 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, Council President Elizabeth Smith. Gotta lose the glasses.
Act like you like each other.
Okay.
You ready?
I am.
Okay.
Elizabeth, you're gonna have to call me if I'm late from late meetings.
I know, right? I did. Roland, where are you?
That's right. Yeah, she's looking out for you, brother.
She always does.
So as a little thank you for your work as council president, this got us through a lot of meetings and after meetings.
Yes, it did. Shamelessly.
And this is just how we tackle problems.
Oh, this is the best.
Oh, beer.
It's barbecue sauce.
Because sometimes you've got to
I love
have a little bit of a barbecue. So anyway, it is with great gratitude and for your service. And I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. I just want to thank the entire Keizer community, the Keizer staff. You guys have been amazing. You have not had an easy road for the last few years. I totally understand and appreciate, we get some accolades, but if it wasn't for all of you, let's be honest, the team is the one who gets things done. So I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And I know that the number one question I probably asked over and over and over again was, why? And I know it drove you absolutely crazy. So I thank you for answering the question why, and I thank you for tolerating me just wanting to understand how processes could be better and how we could get to things a little easier for the community and to engage more people within the community. And I challenge you to remember the story of the pot roast. The pot roast goes like this. There's a lady who gets married, young woman, and she is gonna make a pot roast for dinner. And she goes to the store and buys a beautiful piece of meat. She goes home and she cuts off both ends and throws it away. Her husband looks at her like, she's crazy. Why are you throwing those perfectly good pieces of meat away? And he said, well, because that's how my mom did it. And so she's like, well, he's like, well, then call your mom, because why would you throw away perfectly good meat? So they call mom. Mom says, grandma did it that way. We'll call grandma. Grandma says, well, call great grandma. Great grandma finally answers the phone. She's like, what is it? Well, why do you throw away the two ends of the pot roast? Because I didn't have a pan big enough. Don't forget to buy a new pan, okay? That's my point. That's if you remember anything about me, remember that. Look for options, look for opportunities, and don't just get stuck in the same old rut, because that's the way we always did things. There's a new world out there. Let's be proactive in grabbing a hold of that. So again, thank you so much, and you all are wonderful.
Thank you. What we have as a tradition in our community is that at the end of a term of service, that the city councilor gets to select a tree to be planted in one of our parks, which Council President Smith will have the opportunity to do. And for serving 2 terms, Councilor Herrera will be able to select the location of a park bench and something convenient to your home. Right there.
Policy Park?
And you'll be able to select where that is going to be, and it will have a plaque commemorating your terms of service as well, so people can remember that there are people in our community who give a tremendous amount of time and effort to making Keizer the community it is. At this time, we are going to excuse our departing city councilors, and we will then begin the process of swearing in our incoming city councilors. So we will take a couple minutes and allow for that to happen. And then we will start the swearing in ceremony with position number 4, Sarita Cross.
Thank you.
You get to keep that too.
Oh, cool. Oh, there's 2 of them.
We get to keep this?
Yes, you do.
I can
Yeah.
get good money for this.
It's just so when you wake up in the morning, you remember who you are.
The duck sticker on it?
Pardon?
You get money for the duck sticker?
The ducks.
Yeah.
Gonna miss you, sir.
Weird.
Do you want me to carry your
And I'm
Pepsi?
gonna, can you do this one?
I will do that.
I'm gonna come get some
Yes.
stuff out of mine tomorrow and I'll drop the key
Yeah.
off.
All right, take it easy
Thank
there.
you.
All right.
Good luck to Sarita.
Yes.
Left it warm for her. Thank you.
She's right there. So I'd like to, at this time, to invite up incoming city councilor-elect currently, Sarita Cross, position number 4.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Sarita Cross,
I, Sarita Cross,
being first duly sworn,
being first duly sworn,
upon oath say
upon oath say
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
and the Charter, ordinances, and regulations
and the Charter, ordinance,
and regulations
and regulations
of the City of Keizer,
and the City of Keizer,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
perform the duties
perform the duties
of the office to which I have been elected
of the office to which I have been elected
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
for the term of my office.
for the term of my office.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'll put her name tag up there. There we go. We all know that council service is a family endeavor, so Councilor Cross, would you please introduce folks who are here with you tonight?
I have my amazing husband, Mark. Past youth counselor Miranda Coleman came to support. And friend Catherine Stone. So thank you all for coming. And I have plenty of family and friends watching. So I want to give a shout out to my mom, dad, and brother and sisters in California. And of course, grandkids watching, TJ, Grayson, and Julius. So thank you all for your support.
Thank you. I would like now to invite up the councilor-elect for position 5, Robert Hussman.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me, please. I, Robert Hussman,
I, Robert Husband,
being first duly sworn,
being first duly sworn,
upon oath say
upon oath say
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
and the Charter, ordinances, and regulations
and the Charter ordinances and regulations
of the City of Keizer,
of the City of Keizer,
and that I will faithfully perform
and that I will faithfully perform
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
to which I've been elected
to which I've been elected
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
for the term of my office.
for the term of my office.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations. Congratulations, Councilor Hussman. Welcome aboard, and would you please introduce family and friends who are here with you tonight?
Yeah, thank you so much. I have in the building my mother, Michelle Hussman. I have my partner, Dr. Belinda Nundu here, and I have a bunch of family, friends, and supporters watching at home. So thanks to my mom, thank you, Belinda, and thank you, everybody else.
Great. Thank you very much. I would like now to invite Councilor-elect returning for another term, Dan Kohler.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Daniel Kohler,
I, Daniel Kohler,
being first duly sworn,
being first duly sworn,
upon oath say
upon oath say
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
and the Charter, ordinances, and regulations
Charter, ordinances, and regulations
of the City of Keizer,
of the City of Keizer,
and that I will faithfully perform
and that I will faithfully perform
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
to which I have been elected
to which I have been elected
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
for the term of my office.
for the term of my office.
Congratulations.
Thanks for coming down.
Yep. It is a pleasure to welcome back Councilor Kohler for a second term of office. Very much appreciate the hard work of these first 4 years, and he actually came back for another dose, so very thankful for that. Councilor Kohler, who would you like to introduce both here and at home?
It's a good question. A lot of good friends out here right now, thank you. And Roland, thanks for coming. Appreciate that. No, my wife's homesick tonight, and so we're just here, friends. Yes, it's good to see you, Amanda. Thank you. So, yeah, I look at all the things that we have yet to do in Keizer and the things that we are doing, the many people that are supporting everything we're trying to do, and the wonderful staff we have. It's just amazing. Thanks, everybody, for being here.
Thank you. Well, it looks like I'm up. So for another term, as very privileged to serve as your mayor.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Kathy Clark,
I, Kathy Clark,
being first duly sworn,
being first duly sworn,
upon oath say
upon oath say
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
and the Charter, ordinances, and regulations
and the Charter, ordinances, and regulations
of the City of Keizer,
of the City of Keizer,
and that I will faithfully perform
and that I will faithfully perform
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
to which I've been elected
to which I have been elected
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
for the term of my office.
for the term of my office.
Congratulations.
Welcome back.
Since I took my first oath of office back in 2007, which seems almost a lifetime ago, I have had the unswerving support of my family. My youngest daughter, Elena, is here tonight. My husband, Kevin, has just been absolutely stalwart in supporting me in this work to be able to serve, along with my daughter, Emmeline, and her family, and my son, Alex, and his family, and my daughter, Allison, and her family, and my mother, Margaret. With this team behind me, with a great team to work with a community that just really shows up day after day, year after year, to make a fantastic city to live in, to call home, and to be able to enjoy nature and the nurture of community. Thank you for allowing me to continue to serve in this capacity, and I look forward to another 2 years of continuing to help Keizer be absolutely a rock star in the Mid-Willamette Valley, where pride, spirit, and volunteerism is not a motto, is how we live. Thank you all very much. Our first order of business as the new city council is to elect the city council president for the next 2 years. Nominations are now open for the council position of council president. Councilor Reed.
I nominate Shani Starr as council president.
Councilor Starr, do you accept the nomination?
I do, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Are there nominations for council president? Hearing no other nominations for council president, all in favor of Shani Starr serving as our next council president, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations, Council President Shani Starr. At this time, we also make assignments for committees, commissions, and task forces. There are people who may not know that the work of the City Council is not just on the first and third Monday nights. We also have work sessions, but we also have council assignments. And at this time, I will read off the appointments for these next 2 years, and they are as follows. The Keizer 40th birthday celebration, this work will be led by Councilors Kohler and Reed. The Keizer Public Arts Commission, Councilor Reed. Keizer Audit Committee, Councilors Kohler, Hussman, and Starr. Keizer Budget Committee, all y'all. On the Keizer Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, Councilor Kohler. Keizer Personnel Policy Committee, myself, Councilors Reed and Starr. Keizer Planning Commission, Councilor Duran. Long Range Planning Task Force, again, all y'all. The Municipal Judge Evaluation for 2023 will be myself and Councilor Hussman, and in 2024 will be Councilors Cross and Starr. The Stormwater Advisory Committee, Councilors Reed, Kohler, and Duran. Traffic Safety Bike Ped Committee, Councilor Hussman. Volunteer Coordinating Committee, Councilor Starr. Community Diversity Engagement Committee will be Councilors Reed and Starr. For the Neighborhood Association liaisons, we assign 2 councilors to each so that the 2 can coordinate, so at least 1 can attend each of the Neighborhood Association meetings. The pairings are as follows. Of course, if people's schedules change, please let me know and we can adjust. West Keizer, Councilors Duran and Reed. Greater Gubser, Councilors Starr and Cross. Southeast Keizer, Councilors Cross and Duran. Northwest Keizer, Kohler and Hussman. And Northeast Keizer, Councilors Reed and Kohler. There are outside committees and commissions, which we also appoint councilors to. Starting off with the Claggett Creek Watershed Council, that's Councilor Kohler. The Community Business Education Leaders CBEL Task Force, and that would be Councilor Starr and Kohler. The Keizer Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, Councilor Cross. The Keizer Community Library Board of Directors, Councilor Starr. Keizer Heritage Foundation Board of Directors, Councilor Reed. Keizer United, Councilor Kohler. The Mid-Willamette Valley Council of Government Board of Directors will be myself. The Mid-Willamette Valley Economic Development Partnership Board is Councilor Duran. The Mid-Willamette Valley Homeless Alliance Board and ORS 190 Entity Board is myself with the alternate of Councilor Starr. The Salem Wastewater Task Force meets very rarely, and I just need to be notified when they're actually going to meet, and we'll appoint somebody. Mid-Willamette Valley Commission on Transportation, MWACT, would be myself with the alternate of Councilor Hussman. And the Salem Keizer Area Transportation Studies, SCATS, which is our local metropolitan planning organization. I will continue to serve as our representative, and our alternate will be Councilor Hussman. I also want to acknowledge for the record, there are appointments that some of us have received by virtue of our position as a city councilor. I am serving on the Board of Directors for the League of Oregon Cities Foundation. And I'm also serving on 2 policy committees for the League of Oregon Cities, the policy committees on transportation and community development. Councilor Reed has applied for a position on the Mid-Willamette Valley Community Action Agency, and that appointment is pending. And I am currently serving, and I was recently appointed to a new term for the SEDCOR, which is the Strategic Economic Development Corporation. I love those acronyms, Board of Directors. So that is what I have at this time. And this will be incorporated into the record, and all of you will get your weekly updates from our very, very skilled and organized city recorder to help you keep all of this figured out on your calendars, which is no small task. At this time, I would ask each counselor to announce their appointment to the Volunteer Coordinating Committee, and I would like to start with Counselor Duran.
I haven't made a decision on that yet. I forgot all about it. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, I would like to keep it the same with Jane Herb, so that'll be what, hopefully she'll accept that.
You can text her real quick. I think she's watching. Council President Starr.
Thank you. I'll be appointing Corey Ferlardo.
Okay. Councilor Hussman.
My nomination will be Cheyenne Tovar for the Volunteer Coordinating Committee.
Thank you. Mine will be Daisy Hickman, who will be continuing as my representative. Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll continue to have Larry serve there.
Don Reichley Balon will be my appointee.
Thank you. And Councilor Cross.
Leslie Reiswick.
Okay, thank you very much. And for the ones who will be coming on to the committee for the first time, would you please get all their contact information to Ms. Davis? That would be much appreciated. All right, public comment. This time is provided for citizens to address the council on any matters other than those on the agenda scheduled for public hearing. There are no public hearings scheduled for this evening, and I do have 2 people signed up, and the first is Douglas Miser to talk to us about Keizer Water. Oh, and you'll need to bring that microphone back around. I did bend it the wrong way. All right, thank you. And if you just introduce yourself with your name and city of residence, and 5 minutes.
Do I hit the green here when I get going? Oh,
Ms. Davis or Mr. Wood will handle that.
I'm going to look at some notes while I talk. My name is Douglas Miser. I used to live at 6686 Hidden Creek Loop in Keizer. And I moved from Keizer, and I now currently live in West Salem. The reason I moved is because I was poisoned with the water in the Keizer water department, or with the Keizer water. Mayor, you and I spoke about this briefly on the phone, and I want to make a statement first and foremost about that. That was not an administrative hearing. It was not anything judicial, so I can't be stopped with regards to what we spoke about at all.
Okay.
I want that to be clear. So I want to go over 2 things here. First and foremost, Pat Taylor was contacted by me, and he was given the analysis of the water done by an EPA firm close to Portland with the cancerous ingredients in that water. And I also showed him the statute in Oregon that states that when such a thing occurs, a municipality is under obligation by statute to investigate. What the statute says is that you have the ability to form a special police force with investigative and subpoena powers. You can subpoena anybody in the United States. That was never done. Now, I can tell you why it was never done, at least my opinion. And that is because when this deadly use of force incident that happened with the Spokane Police Department occurred, and all of this followed me into Oregon, I was told by a deputy who transported me to jail on a disorderly conduct charge for sitting next to the group of people who won the largest lawsuit against Spokane County ever. Who are you going to use for witnesses? Who are you going to use for an attorney? They corrupted my witnesses. None of my witnesses who corroborated my case ever made it to trial. My own attorney changed my testimony, kept all of my depositions out of the record, and then literally wrote out a statement that changed the assault of me, throwing the case. He's been disbarred. He was a Harvard law graduate. The prosecutor took all of the depositions of the witnesses and carved them up. He would take the things that would prove, that would basically show my case and keep it out, and then carve it up, and I think it blatantly shows fraud. So I became an activist, and when that occurred, I found that there were 289 alternate voicemail phone numbers put on my business, 36-year-old tax company. So most companies, if it's a small business, they will have one inbound phone message or inbox for your messages. I had 289. Now, I can tell you why that occurred. Number one, to stalk me. So in other words, if I had a doctor's appointment and they'd call me up and say, you've got an appointment at such and such a time, 289 different phone numbers would have that message. They took my voicemail and put it on every one of those numbers. This is all coming out in a documentary. With those phone numbers, we changed out the message, redialed every one of those numbers, and every one of those numbers had a new message on it. This is highly illegal. These are the type of things that have been done to me to silence me. The first time I found out about a pretext phone call was when I called the Salem FBI, and I was speaking to a woman who was about 50. Forgot to tell her the most important thing. I called back. Now I'm speaking to a woman who's maybe 28. I said I was speaking to the elderly FBI agent. She said, I'm the only FBI agent at this office today. Prefix phone calls are in and outbound, where somebody calls you and they're not who you think they are, or you call somebody and your phone is intercepted. That's what I've been going through to try to find out what's going on.
Thank you. Next up, we do have Barbara Miner from the Keizer Community Library.
Happy New Year. I am Barbara Miner. I am representing the Keizer Community Library. And just a quick few notes to improve communication. We have received the funds from the city for 2023 operating funds, very efficient. Thank you. We're in the midst of wrapping up our library metrics. I love metrics. I'm a retired engineer for 2022, and we'll have an official report not this week. But a few pointers for our library. 14,000 items to be checked out. All the cards are free. We don't have fines. And we are a community library. We care what our members want. We track what the most popular books are. So I'm here to inform you what the most read book from the Keizer Community Library is. Just imagine in your brain what it would be. And the answer is 10 Little Dinosaurs. This particular book has googly eyes, and very, very many little kids pick this book up. They want to take it home with them. I would have brought the book, but it is checked out, which is where we want our books to be. It also represents the fact that in the year 2022, 50% of the books checked out of our Keizer Community Library were kids' books. That means picture books, early reading, junior books, and young adults. They want to be counted as adults, but kids they are. So if anyone needs a library card representing the city of Keizer, you should have a library card or a personal tour of the library. Just let me know.
Thank you. Hang on just a sec. Anybody have questions for Ms. Miner? Thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming and keeping us updated on our fabulous community library. And if people want to know more, volunteer, what is the website or contact information for our fabulous library?
KeizerLibrary.org.
All right.
My personal email is barbara@keizerlibrary.org. So we're open for business and we appreciate all comments. We try to accommodate everyone's needs. In a small building with a small budget, but we're there.
Thank you so much. Small but mighty. All right. That is everybody I had signed up for public testimony this evening. Was there anyone else who wanted to address the council this evening? Going once, going twice. We have no public hearings this evening, so administrative action, item 8A is an ordinance adopting the rules of conduct for city property, declaring an emergency. This goes to Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. This item on the agenda tonight is an ordinance for rules of conduct for city property. It's frankly a project that I've been wanting to kind of get done for some time. We do have provisions for rules. They're in a few different places, and for the ejectment or exclusion of persons. But I believe that this ordinance covers things better and allows for due process and is probably more defensible legally. For the benefit of the audience who might not have the staff report, I think I reported just as general background, a private person or private corporations can have people removed from their property for basically any reason, as long as it's not a discriminatory reason. Government has powers that other private corporations or individuals don't have. We also have, as government, responsibilities and obligations that other places don't have. So while Safeway can say, I want this person removed from this property, and ultimately that would happen if the person wouldn't leave, the police could come. It's a little bit different as a government, especially with public property, and we have to have safeguards in place and due process if that's to occur. And so this ordinance is part of that. In addition to laying out the rules, we have an ejectment and exclusion portion of the ordinance, which can move forward if someone violates any of the rules that are set forth here or any other rules in our different regulations. So currently, as I had mentioned, we do have a process for this. There is a resolution process where the city manager can make a decision, but again, it didn't provide for an appeal process and therefore could be suspect legally. This process does allow for an appeal to a hearings officer in an exclusion situation. My recommendation is to adopt this as an appropriate measure, considering those above issues. I believe that this is better served than the current regulatory process that we have. I will note that we will, if council does adopt this ordinance, we will be making some tweaks to some other regulations that we have to jive with this. But I believe this is a good step in this direction. So the recommendation is to discuss the matter, and if there are no questions, to adopt the attached ordinance. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions on the ordinance or the staff report? Mr. Johnson.
Sorry, forgot to make a note for myself. I did have one or two tiny tweaks that I meant to mention before the meeting. I apologize, I did not.
All right.
In this, on page 3, which is page 18 of the packet, at the top of the page, section 2A. That phrase reads, the rules of conduct in this section apply and are enforced at all city property except where specific rules of conduct and prohibitions have been adopted for designated real property the city owns or has a property interest or property management responsibilities. I just noted actually early this morning when I was double checking this, that second part of the phrase, starting with except, might imply that these rules would be superseded by those other rules, and that was not the intent. And so, as a matter of fact, the first rule underneath that in sub B says no person shall engage in any activity that would constitute a violation of federal, state, or local law or regulation, referring to the other regulations. So my recommendation would be on line 3 at the top where it says property, to put a period there and delete the rest of that paragraph.
Okay.
And that should be as part of the motion when you get to that point. And then there's one other, I believe, typo. At the top of page 20 of the packet, line 1, where it says without limited the foregoing, that word should have been limiting, without limiting the foregoing.
Okay.
And there was one other small one. On page 23 of the packet, page 8 of the ordinance, right almost in the very middle of the page, line 11. The sentence in the middle there starts, in addition, the person in charge may issue. That word should be a instead of the. The implication being that any person in charge could issue an exclusion, not just the one that made the initial contact. So that was the reason for that change. Okay. So when the motion comes, because this is an ordinance and to be effective, we need to pass unanimously having those changes read. So you need to make this as part of that motion.
Okay.
And I can help you with that if you'd like. Okay.
Yeah.
It would be literally read as that, but you can, I will read it when the motion is on the floor.
Okay. All right, so what we can do is put the motion on the floor and then we can discuss. So Council President Starr, if you would read the motion.
I move the City Council adopt ordinance number 2023, adopting rules of conduct for city property with the amendments from Attorney Johnson and declaring an emergency.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt a bill for an ordinance. Let me get back to that page. Adopting rules of conduct for city property, declaring an emergency with amendments on section 2A, line 3, sentence to end at property, period, with amendment, correction on section 7, line 1, changing the word limited to limiting, and section 3A. No, that's not right. That's 8, isn't it? What's the third one, Mr. Johnson?
On page 8 of the ordinance, line 11.
Okay, page 8. Page 8, line 11, changing the to a person in charge. Discussion. Councilor Reed.
I have a couple of questions. Okay. In the staff report, it talks about how this is non-discriminatory, and there's nothing really in the ordinance that defines non-discriminatory, but the ordinance is very clearly focused on conduct rather than any kind of personal anything. So I just wanted to, I guess, make sure that we are indeed focused on conduct. And, you know, for me, the whole reason for this is it maintains the balance between individual rights and the rights of everybody else to not be annoyed by an individual. And so that's what I'm seeing. I just kind of wanted to confirm that is indeed what I'm seeing.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, and then my other question here, and perhaps Lieutenant Copeland can weigh in on this. May I follow up with that?
Follow up.
Okay, thank you. Is I see all kinds of problems in terms of enforcement for this, but as we kind of did with the fireworks ordinances and so forth, this is more a matter of having this on the books to use as a tool as we need to, rather than, because there's all kinds of unenforceable about this, but it is a tool that we have that our police can use as necessary, correct?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Councilor Reed. Yes, that is correct. I really appreciate the effort that City Attorney Johnson's put into this. This really does help us. It helps us in many ways. We've had numerous people at the parks over my 20 years here that have just ruined culture, have ruined other people's time at the parks. And it's really hard for us to exclude them from the public areas. We've done it before with city manager approval. It's quite the process. This just gives us some teeth, some enforcement action. I think the way that we would take this is just like the city ordinance for the fireworks. Just because it's on the books doesn't mean if it's a first-time offense that you're going to get excluded for a year, right? It's an education piece, and then it also gives us some teeth to just keep our parks healthy and safe.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. You good?
I have one more.
Okay.
So do we have, and I don't recall seeing any kind of, how do you earn these rights back once you've been excluded? Is there any kind of provision for that?
There is a provision to either appeal, as I had mentioned, and that appeal can be either the exclusion itself or the length of the exclusion. So they can do that. The other method is to ask for a modification if there's a valid reason you have to go on the city property. For example, I'm looking at this more than just parks, most particularly the Civic Center here. And we've had issues on and off with that. If somebody had to if somebody was excluded but had to legitimately conduct property with the city that couldn't logistically be done electronically, for example, they can ask for a modification for that limited purpose.
Right.
So this is indefinite unless otherwise appealed?
No, it's a maximum of 1 year.
Okay.
It cannot be excluded more than 1 year.
Okay, thank you. I missed that part. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Other questions? Councilor Hussman.
Pursuant to what Councilor Reed was discussing, it mentions that in exclusion, a person in charge may issue the written notice. I'm assuming you're a person in charge, Mr. Johnson. Am I a person in charge? Who is a person in charge?
You definitely would not be a person in charge. I hadn't thought of myself as one, but I think I accidentally might have made myself one. Because I think it says department directors. And I'm a department director. So I think, I wasn't planning on doing these, but who knows? I might be pressed into service.
Nothing accidental about your appointment, Mr. Johnson.
In answer to your question, Councilor Hussman, it is in the very first page. The list of
Section 1.
persons in charge are a police officer, the police department, any person providing security services pursuant to contract, because we sometimes do have security persons on board, the city manager or designee, department head directors or designee, any person with exclusion authority under this ordinance, and there are a few sprinkled throughout, or the code enforcement or code compliance officer.
Brilliant, thank you. And I appreciate you letting me go a level further in that definition. One quick follow-up, pursuant to section 17 of the ordinance, the one about housing, I would imagine that the number of allowable instances would be much more finite than the number of disallowable instances. Do you mind clarifying what those might be?
Sure, and I'm glad you pointed that out because I meant to include that in my introductory comments. That section is in the list of rules of conduct, and it says, no person shall use city property for housing or camping except where specifically allowed by applicable rule or written permit. The only place that I know of is we do, on a very, very limited basis, during the concert series at the amphitheater, allow the bands or their assistants to camp overnight to protect their equipment. The other one, also in Keizer Rapids Park, but it's not by special permit or anything. That's why we use that term, where allowed by rule, is the boat-in camping area. That is only allowed for boat-in camping as part of the Willamette River Trail. And so boaters coming down the river can camp there overnight. That's the only place that I'm aware of that is allowable camping on city property. With all that being said, though, the comment that I was going to make, for those of you that don't know, is that the state legislature did pass legislation in this last session with regard to providing some opportunities for homeless people in certain public property settings. Those regulations go into effect in June, and we will, between now and then, be looking at making, and we would reference this, we would probably have it as a separate ordinance, but we would reference this. So by June, we will need to make some provisions based on that legislation, like all cities in Oregon.
An expectation of an amendment to this existing ordinance.
Yeah, probably would be in it. We would probably reference a different set, like we would, where it says by applicable rule or permit, we might not need to actually amend this, but we would have a new applicable rule that might allow camping in other areas, so.
Okay, I appreciate the clarification. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I have nothing further, Madam Mayor.
All right, thank you very much. Any further questions? Councillor Kohler.
Just clarification, Boy Scouts a couple of times have used that
That's
for a
true.
camporee.
Thank you.
With council approval.
Right.
And we had this, that whole eclipse thing a few years ago, but again, this was by permit. This was an event that included overnight stays. So there was real clarity on, you know, the facility, security, sanitation, and so forth. So that was very specific for that purpose. All right, anything else? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. There's nothing tonight on the consent calendar. Other business. This time is provided to allow the mayor, city council members, or staff an opportunity to bring new or old matters before the council that are not on tonight's agenda. City manager, are there any other issues of other business that the staff would like to bring forward this evening?
I don't have any other businesses, Madam Mayor and Council.
All right, thank you. Council members, was there any other item of other business somebody wanted to bring forward this evening? All right, seeing none, then we will go to staff updates, and we'll start with our city manager, Mr. Brown.
Just a Happy New Year to everybody.
And to you. Mr. Wood.
Also, a Happy New Year, and also we're halfway through. Continue to save water. Your pocketbook will appreciate you. Thank you.
Words to the wise, especially after the holiday season. Ms. Davis.
Nothing other than welcome to the new council members and thank you to the outgoing ones.
I want to thank you for also arranging to make sure that we have cake cookies this evening. For Keizer, not Kohler. And Kohler. Keizer and Kohler.
Dennis Coho always said they were Coho cookies.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Lieutenant Copeland.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On New Year's Eve, if you were in town, I stepped out. I was at my sister-in-law's place over at McNary Estates. Stepped outside right at midnight to bang some pans with the kids, and I don't think anybody heard me because of the fireworks going off.
Mm-hmm.
It was very loud. So we have a new city ordinance on fireworks. We made sure all the officers were aware of what it said and the ordinance in case they needed to write a citation. Surprisingly enough, we had 7 calls for service only on fireworks, which I think that is, I don't know why people are more welcoming of fireworks on New Year's Eve, but apparently they were. Maybe it was a shorter duration. I think that probably had a lot to do with it. We contacted 3 people that we observed in violation, gave them the specifics of the ordinance, and received 100% compliance. So of the 7 calls, we found 3 violators. So I just wanted to report back, because you guys did a lot of work on this. It was a useful tool for our officers, very useful, in the sense that if they went to these 7 different places, made contact, gave them the warning, they were prepared and had the abilities to issue the citation, but didn't need to. So we'll report back after July and hopefully have the same kind of report. So anyways, the last thing we have is we are still hiring for full-time police officers. So if you know good men or women that would like to join the Keizer Police Department, we would be happy to interview them and take a look at them. So thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, we noticed it got quiet in our neighborhood around 12:30, which was really nice, although my dog was already completely freaked out. It happens. Thank you, really appreciate the follow-up. Ms. DePina.
Also, Happy New Year and welcome to Councilors Cross and Husband. And with respect to the police officer recruitment, that closes on January 19th. So if you know someone, make sure they get their paperwork in. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Mr. Witham.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Welcome to our new councilors. Thank you to Councilor Herrera and Smith. It was a pleasure working with you both. And other than that, I have nothing else. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't have anything. Happy New Year to you all. Welcome to the new councilors, and thank you, Councilor Smith and Councilor Herrera.
All right, thank you so much. At this time, we'll do council member reports, and we'll start with Councilor Duran.
I have nothing other than congratulations to you two, and thank you for your service on this council, the two new members, and thank you, Councilor Smith and Councilor Herrera. I would like to mention, I was out of town for the weekend, so I didn't hear any fireworks this year, except Sunday night and Monday night. I did hear fireworks in the West Keizer neighborhood, but I was too tired to go out and find out where they were from. But I heard one this afternoon, unless it was a gunshot, but I'm assuming it was fireworks.
Let's go with that.
Yeah. So that's all I had. Everything else has been pretty quiet.
We'll keep that good thought. Thank you so much. Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to wish everyone in Keizer a happy new year. Welcome, Councilor Cross and Husband. And thank you, former Councilor Smith, for your guidance and your wisdom over this past year. And to former Councilor Herrera, I will see you in the park.
Councilor Husband.
Thank you all so much for having me. And Sarita. Again, glad to be a part of the two-person cohort of new counselors. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you all for coming to this event tonight. Happy New Year to the folks in the room and the folks at home. And please, for those of you who may have watched the Monday Night Football game this most recent Monday with the unfortunate incident, the medical episode with Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin, please check your defibrillators. If you have CPR training, wonderful. If you feel like you may need CPR training, go ahead and do it. You could save a person's life. We would like all our athletic events in Keizer to be safe with appropriate precautions taken. If you see something, say something. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Great thought there. And I'll bet we have a couple of fire districts that are happy to provide those classes. Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's been interesting Christmas and New Year's, and hope that we all can enjoy our family even more and appreciate what they do. Spent a little bit of time at the hospital today, and just remind everybody that there's always a need for blood. So if you have know somebody that knows somewhere where there's a blood drive, please participate. I just happen to know where there is one on January 5th coming up at the LDS Church, 14th and Lock Haven from 10 to 5. So stop by if you haven't made an appointment. They do walk-ins also. Please come and donate. You could save a life. That's all I have tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In behalf of former Councilor Herrera, he wanted me to recognize that on December 23rd, we lost former Marion County Sheriff Raul Ramirez, who was Councilor Herrera's mentor since high school, and he wanted to make sure that that we all express our condolences and to his family, and showed our appreciation for his services in our community. So I wanted to recognize that and make sure that we acknowledge that. We are indeed back to school, on the ground running, and happy to be back. And so just be careful on these dark mornings and even the dark evenings as we are trying to get back to the light. But watch out for those bus stops and those squirrely kids on the side of the road sometimes. So please be aware of that and be supportive of our kids in our community. And that's, the Community Diversity Engagement Committee is meeting this Thursday, and we are up for some suggestions. Councilor Kohler and I have been tasked with the job of party planning for this year's celebration of Keizer's 40th birthday, as you've heard. And so we have some good ideas to start with, but we all are looking for your input on that. So please let us know what you would like to see and give us some input. We would welcome you all to come to that meeting. We will be talking about that as part of that meeting. So that will start at 6 o'clock, and we would invite anybody with some ideas and willingness to help to come and join us for that meeting. So that's all I have. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much. Councilor Cross.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Happy New Year to everyone. I'm just super excited to be here. Thank you to Councilor Smith and Councilor Herrera. Thank you for your service. It's just amazing what you've done. And thank you to everyone here. You've just welcomed me with open arms, and I'm so appreciative. It's going to be a lot of work, but it's no doubt going to be fun and rewarding, and I'm just super excited and enthusiastic about the ride. So thank you.
And we are as well with our great freshman class. All right, Youth Councilor Sarmiento.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As Ms. Reed mentioned, we are back in school at McNary. Finals week is approaching. It's the last week of January. And Mary Poppins the Musical is occurring from January 25th through the 28th and February 1st through the 4th. And you can purchase your tickets at McNary's website. Thank you.
We're looking forward to that show for sure. Thank you. Just a couple of things. I also would like to let people know, if you haven't heard already, that the Mid-Willamette Valley Council of Governments lost a treasured employee on December 19th, and that was Denise Van Dyke, who was killed in a crash downtown at Salem. She was one of the most extraordinary public servants I have ever had the pleasure of working with, beloved of the community and of the entire staff, and she is absolutely sorely missed. The Council of Governments has really appreciated the outreach by so many people in our community and our entire three-county region to support the staff at this time, and I've been particularly impressed and grateful for the director of Scott Dadson, who has been absolutely fantastic with caring for the needs of everybody in the staff and for Denise's family. So one of the people to know, there is, if you go to the Council of Governments website, there is a link to do a video remembrance that by the request of her mother, that is what she would like rather than a service. So if people feel so inclined, please go to the website and record your memories and thanks for the service of Denise Van Dyke. Just a couple of things. We had a couple of things happen in December on the League of Oregon Cities Women's Caucus. I am now a member of the board of directors, and I'm very happy to be a part of that great group through the League of Oregon Cities, who is promoting the development and recruitment of women to serve in municipal government. On the 21st, I was part of the Mid-Willamette Valley Council of Governments Legislative Committee. We are getting ready for this long session coming up, so hang on for the ride. We've got a meeting tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Some people. So we can solidify the legislative agenda and get ready for the long session. On the 21st, I also joined Councilor Hussman at the Chamber Government Affairs Committee. It was a wonderful conversation with members of our chamber about what's going on in Keizer and what's ahead of us in 2023. Also on the 21st was the Mid-Willamette Valley Mayor's Coalition Dinner, which includes mayors from Marion, Polk, and Yamhill counties, welcoming in some of our newer mayors, Mayor Hoy and the new mayor, of Almsville, as well as some of our outgoing mayors who did not run for reelection. So it was just a great time to come together after a couple of years of a lot of change and so forth, and come together and support one another. Yesterday, that was yesterday. It's only Tuesday. I had a chance to do a podcast for Valor Mentoring, so that will be airing on KSLM Radio. I believe it's this Saturday. And today was the executive committee for the Mid-Willamette Valley Homeless Alliance. The full board will be meeting next week on the 12th. Also coming up will be I'll be on a conference call on Thursday with the incoming governor's office on the issues of housing and homelessness. I appreciate her team reaching out to me as one of the individuals in our community who has been working on this issue through our fantastic Mid-Willamette Valley Homeless Alliance. And coming up on the 11th, and the council, if you're interested in attending, is the Strategic Economic Development Corporation, the SEDCOR Economic Forum luncheon will be on the 11th at noon down at Broadway Commons. So let Ms. Davis know if you'd like to attend. And other things to note will be the upcoming First Citizen Banquet on the 21st, which is coming up faster than we might want to think. So that's all I've got this evening. Just agenda input. So we will meet next Monday night at 6 p.m. for a work session. That will be our city council orientation. Our next regular session will be on January 17th, 2023. It's a Tuesday at 7 p.m. and we will meet in regular session. Following that will be February 6th at 7 p.m. regular session. Question for Ms. Davis on the 13th. Do we have a topic for that one? Because I believe we are changing our work session in February to the 27th. For the strategic planning. Is that right, Ms. Davis, Mr. Brown? Because I have that on my calendar.
You're correct on the fourth Monday work session, and we do not have a topic for the 13th.
So rather than come up with an additional one, how about we just change our work session for February to the 27th? So we just have the one, because that's going to be a longer time frame. I think we have from 4 to 8 p.m. on the 27th. So please mark your calendars for that, and we will not have an additional work session on the 13th unless something urgent comes up, which it won't. So there. All right, anything else for the good of the order? All right, the time is 8:13. We are adjourned, and I invite you all to join us for cake, cookies, and a reception here in council chambers. Thank you all.